I'm sure the vast majority of you are familiar with the series The Walking Dead. We watched it too every season. And if you are familiar with that series, then you'll know the association between the series and today's story is unreal and unbelievable as it actually is. And it has to do with the walkers in every way, shape, and form. Now, many of you are probably smirking right now, thinking there's some catch, but most realities there isn't a catch. It is the non-reality that makes this story so interesting because there's a secret that the White House has. They're trying to hide something from you. Do you know what that is? If you've been watching the news, you caught some of it, but there's a lot more to this story than just the cover story. It had a lot to do with this little jaunt after the State of the Union is what tripped us all into motion. Tell me if you notice anything. A lot of people did. A lot of people said something, and now the White House did something. Do you know what that something is? Beware. The walkers are there. And the White House has deployed them to make sure, these new gatekeepers, that they can hide something from you. And that's the story we're going to cover for you here today. We weren't going to hide anything from you today, unlike the administration has continually. You see, this is what we do in the morning. We head out, get some exercise before we jump into these broadcasts. It's our form of stress relief. So rather than jump back in and try to get all prepared, it's a Sunday, and just like you, we like to kick back and take it easy. But we always report on the news first because we love doing it. We love doing it for you. Lisa adores her job, doesn't even consider it a job. Considers it her calling in life to make sure she keeps you informed. To honor and respect that, I hope you're subscribed to her. If you're not, please subscribe. If you think you are, double check. She also put a link to my channel just above. If you can click there, I'd appreciate it. And Lisa and I are also going to start doing a lot of live interactions, and we're going to do that over at Restricted Republic. Live broadcasts, we're going to try to do at least weekly. And there, it's an open chat. It's not as big as YouTube is, so it's easy almost to respond to everyone. So if you have questions you want answered, if there's elements of a story you weren't sure about, get on there, jump on the chat, go back and forth with us, and we're going to answer those questions. But to enjoy it, you have to be at Restricted Republic. Right now, I'm going to put 2 discount codes on the screen, an annual and a monthly. RR39 is the annual. It's the best deal by far, $39 a year. Each year, I'm going to charge you for 3 years. So every year, you'll get a charge for $39. That's it. Plus 14 days for free to enjoy all our material, no matter where it's broadcast, no commercials and no interruptions. That's your means of supporting Lisa. If you believe in her mission, if you believe in what she's doing, we need you there today. RestrictedRepublic.com. Use either of the discount codes. But for now, we're going to get back to the story. But don't forget, get over there, subscribe. So we'll start back where we ended with this slight jaunt, well, call it what it is, a shuffle. Everyone went crazy. Of course, they try to mock it and the right's being unfair to Biden. Well, beware the walkers. Because of that, and because of headlines like this in Newsweek, President Joe Biden's walk mocked after State of the Union, and it was. But there's a real, legitimate reason why. The New York Times published this story in 2012, by the way. Footprints to cognitive decline and Alzheimer are seen in the gait, the walking steps. Did you know that? A lot of people are just playing up this story as it's just more man getting older, which there's no denying that. He's not even denying it anymore. He's putting in his new campaign ads. I'm going to show you one of them here in just a few minutes. But what if it was really showing a condition? And when you put that in unison with even simple, well, I'm going to show you some clips of that also. Teleprompter mistakes, we'll call them. So what has the White House done? Well, he can really no longer be alone. You'll see there, what was on the left is no longer. It will now be what's on the right, and there's a reason for this. Axios reported on it. Biden changes walking routine to Marine One. We're going to cover that, the final detail of this, just at the end of this broadcast. Rather short one for you today. Some Biden advisors have told Axios they're concerned the videos of Biden walking and shuffling alone, especially across the grass, have highlighted his age. Weeks ago, the president told aides that he preferred a less formal approach. A White House official told Axios he suggested they walk with him. So, again, hiding reality from you, from me, from everyone. They've continued to do that. I guess he needs Sorry, I couldn't help it. That headline cracked me up when I read it on the New York Post, trying to make sure you're having a great Sunday here. Hope you're enjoying this. It's one of our more lighthearted broadcasts, but there's a real message behind it. Now Biden's aides won't even let him walk alone. They gang up to hide something from you.
Look, I'm not a young guy. That's no secret. But here's the deal.
I told you. His own campaign ads now. We all know that, Joe. You don't need to state it to us, although everybody says he's fine, right? This physician report says everything's A-OK, February 28th of 2024 of this year. But within it, he has sensory peripheral neuropathy of the feet. That's one of the reasons they're giving you for the gait that you're now seeing, the shuffle. Biden's team tells nervous Dems, just chill out, he's fine, his age makes no difference. Well, okay, let's put that argument aside for a minute. How has his performance been? How has his international diplomacy been? How has his border policy been? You see, don't try to hide it for a moment and people are mocking an elderly man, because that's not the root of the problem now, is it? You see, I told you, there's always two meanings to everything the administration does. These handlers are pretty smart. Biden teams don't let him trip mission. Literally. Now, if Axios is putting this out, again, they're trying to make sure you're not watching the bouncing ball, or at least what's happening behind it, because the story behind it is the man is crumbling. The story behind it has to do with these new walkers being deployed. The story behind it is never quite what it appears, so we'll dig a little deeper. Driving the news as voters express deep concerns about the 80-year-old president's age and fitness for office, Biden's team is taking extra steps to prevent him from stumbling in public, as he did in June when he tripped over a sandbag at the Air Force Academy. With a physical therapist, Biden has been doing exercise to improve his balance as far back as November 2021. You think he could find a therapist for better job performance? Better figures, helping our pocketbooks, making us a little bit more money, causing us a little less stress, because that's where the focus should be. We all know what's occurred. We watched it time and time again. Folks, that's no joke. Never has been a joke. Not to me. I hope it's not to you. Yes, a meme here or there will give you some levity, of course. But there's a real concern. This is the leader of the most powerful country in the world. And that's what's appearing on all these international leaders' television screens each day. Since his stumble in June, he's been wearing tennis shoes more often to avoid slipping, and using the short stairs on Air Force One, entering the plane on a lower deck than before. This is what they're concerned with. Not policy, not performance. Using the short stairs and wearing tennis shoes. That's why he's now taking the short stairs on Air Force One, by the way. And those tennis shoes are just a fashion statement. Makes him look younger, of course. Oh, there's articles in the New York Times about how his fashion sense should be, well, respected, admired. Again, keeping away from any performance. We'll never all forget this. We won't forget what happened at his academy, the graduation ceremony, as he takes one of his biggest spills to date. Again, no laughing matter, never has been. Not to me, not to Lisa. Biden's balance difficulties are likely the result of what his physician has diagnosed as a combination of significant spinal arthritis and mild post-fracture foot arthritis. Biden works out many mornings with physical therapist Drew Contreras, who also worked with former President Obama. Biden's doctor recommended exercise for balance, which he calls proprioceptive maintenance maneuvers. The maneuvers, however, are unclear. I've never heard the term proprioceptive maintenance maneuver. It's not a clinical term, said Professor James Gordon, but I guess reality is always kind of skewed from us now, isn't it? And this skewing of reality is no different. It's when you see Axios focus on it multiple times over, eventually you will be made to feel guilty for what you're thinking. You will be made to feel guilty and ridiculed for how dare you be so concerned over the man's age when his performance in their eyes has been so exemplary. So now he has the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers who are positioned directly between him and the cameras at all times. Now I want you to think about that again. The gatekeepers are positioned between him and the cameras at all times. Could there be a dual purpose to those gatekeepers other than just hiding the fact that he's shuffling across the lawn? There's always more to the story. This story is a ruse, a distraction more than anything else. Has he done any press conferences this year? How many? Just think about that for a moment. He's already one of the lowest numbers that exist this year. He's virtually none. So you're keeping him out of the eyes of the press. Most people will say to not answer any questions, which is a very legitimate response. But could there be something more? Why suddenly are they hiding Biden from everything? From the cameras? From the press? From those reporters in the press to ask too tough of questions? But yet he says on Howard Stern he'll debate President Trump. That's, in my opinion, never going to happen. Unless he has another State of the Union performance. Of course. But to me, these handlers appear to be serving a much different purpose. They're hiding more than just Joe Biden's gait from you. And I'm looking forward in the comments what your thoughts are, because people are taking a very high surface level run at this, but not digging into the details of why they're coming up with fake medical terms, not doing press junkets, not allowing him to answer questions, not allowing reporters without a script to ask him a single question. White House staffers and reporters alike noticed a sudden change in Biden's walk routine beginning in mid-April after more than 3 years in which he typically walks solo. Seriously. Axios put multiple articles out on this, not just one, which tells me there's a reason they did this. President Biden has introduced a change to his White House departure and return routine. Instead of walking across the South Lawn to and from Marine One by himself, he's now often surrounded by aides. With aides walking between Biden and journalist camera positions outside the White House, the visual effect is to draw less attention to the 81-year-old's halting and stiff gait. That's the cover story. And if you don't believe other mainstream media cover stories, then why would you believe this one? Intriguing when you put it in those terms, isn't it? I mean, so much focus on walk. That's just one article. Every highlight there is another reference to it. When asked for more detail, White House spokesperson Andrew Bates told Axios this isn't new. It was proactively and transparently disclosed in a 2021 report from the president's doctor, and again this year. This article fits an unfortunate pattern of media attempting to sensationalize something that has long been public rather than covering the president's very real achievements for hardworking Americans. Wait now. Most of those quotes came from the White House, provided to Axios, who covered it, and then the White House ridicules Axios for covering it. Now you find what they're doing. That's right. It's another cover routine for Biden. How dare you focus on the man's age when we have reported he is taking care of all his conditions. You're not focused on his performance. No, you're only focused on his walk, and they keep talking about walk and walk and walk because they don't want you near the real issues, because he can't answer questions on them, because the majority of voters have woken up to that now. They say Donald Trump was a success. Joe Biden is a failure. That's what they're trying to hide. They're trying to hide your gas, your fuel, your mortgage rates, your rent, the stock market. They don't want you looking at that because you are so shallow that you're talking about Joe Biden's Gait. You see, it's a genius plot. It's always been. They know exactly what they're doing. How different is this from anything Joe Biden's ever walked around? He's fallen off of bikes, stairs, stages. Nothing's really changed. He has cue cards with question and answers. Who the reporter is, what they look like, what the question will be. In what reality should that ever be allowed? That's not press. That's controlled media. And we've seen it time and time again. He can't follow simple prompts. That's why his job approval rating is plummeting, and he is now listed out of elected presidents and their 13-quarter job approval rating. He's the lowest. He's at the bottom of the barrel at 38.7%. That is the reality they don't want to be talking about. They don't want you to be concerned over his age. They don't want you to be concerned over his walk, and they don't want you to be concerned over his performance. They just don't want him to exist. So they're putting people or walkers in his way to hide everything he's doing. His press secretary to hide him from answering any questions. His handlers from assuring he never gets in the public eye. And this is seriously the man who holds the nuke codes right now? You can't hide that. This is non-reality. That is the only reality any of us should face. And I know it's probably overplayed. But how, in anyone's reality, is this statement okay?
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years.
I could play that time and time again. If I was Trump, that is all I would play over and over again. Why they continue to put the prompts on his teleprompter is beyond me. Talking points only the man can't see when the audience is being told to chant 4 more years and take a pause. No, Biden reads it out loud, and that is the state of his campaign. But even better is this man. I played it on my broadcast yesterday. This is what America really feels about Joe Biden.
What's it like seeing so many Republicans in Manhattan, so many Trump supporters in Manhattan? Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. It's turning now. Trump's turn again.
What's your message to Joe Biden?
Fuck you.
My friends, I know that's blunt, that's harsh, that's reality. And that's what people need to do. They need to see the reality of who we really are. We're no different than you. We wake up, some of us go to work, some of us go take a quick workout, come back here and rock out the news for you because you make all the difference. And don't let anyone hide behind all these handlers when they're running the greatest country that ever existed. This great republic of the United States of America must be brought back to its true form. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless Justice Knight. On behalf of Lisa Haven today, signing out.